Alright, welcome back. This is the second track. As you can see, this is slightly more complicated, but still very, very simple. This was more of a tension track. The publisher wanted something that was basically very bass-driven. They wanted a bit of a more active. And they wanted this pulsing bass. Let's listen to it, and I'll guide you through what I used. So, first of all, a very general overview of the track. You see that I was really thinking into 4 different sections in here. You got this very first section, which is the first 30 seconds, then a little change happens here, and then this is, well, I suppose you could consider it 3 different sections, but there is a bit of a reiteration of the main thing that is going on here, that I sort of restate with a bit of a higher energy, although it's still very much understated, because this is exactly what they were looking for. I obviously still get reference tracks for all this kind of stuff as usual, and you sort of need to read through the line of what the publisher wants, because they know their clients, they know what they're looking for, they know the shows that they're gonna pitch this music to, and it's important that you trust them. But that said, none of these tracks has been approved yet, so we're gonna go through the revisions that I'm definitely gonna get, and we're gonna go through them together and see what we can do about it. So first of all, the main theme here is really given by this Campanelle preset, which is one of my favorite presets from my Diva release Aftermath, which I released a little over 1 month ago, and this is one of my favorite patches. I already used it, if I remember well. This normally comes as an arpeggiated patch, which is cool, but I took the arpeggiator off for this time, and you can use it as a normal keyed instrument, which I really like because it has this sort of bells-like sound. Campanelle means little bells in Italian, and I came out with this theme, which is very simple. It's pretty much a G minor chord, but I sort of used a little bit of a major chord, using the B natural together with the B flat to give it a little bit of ambiguity. I think it works really well to building up a little bit of tension, and this is the theme. Pretty simple. To build into the second section, I use this synth noise, which is a Arc 2 from Orchestral Tool patch, which is really just a big noisy synth pad, and I processed it with one delay. I use the other side preset in Valhalla delay and use this. Well, I tweaked it a little bit, pretty much drowned it in reverb with this fat plate preset, and I sort of automated volume so that it suddenly drops off here and leads into the second section. Here's in context. Here this sort of wind building up. And I cut to the new section just before it gets too loud. This is a little bit of a hint for editors to give them material to cut to the track, and this increases the possibility of placements so much. Let's go to the rhythm, because there is quite a bit of rhythmic stuff going on. So I use again Dramatic Creator with Prosa with some delay. I used it a bit more in this track. Again, because I want to try it, because I'm working on a video review for it. Okay, and here as well, there's some more stuff going on. Okay, I used again the same stopwatch that I used on a previous track. I realized this is from Sonokinetic. It's called the Watchmaker. Stopwatch sounds again are very popular in tension tracks. I use them a lot, and this is my favorite because it's very tweakable. You can control it really well. I also automated the delay a little bit. I used Replica XT from Native Instrument, ping pong setting, and I give it a little bit of saturation in the second part. And the final bit of the metallic percussion is a super old library that still finds its place in so many of my tension tracks. The first Evolved library by Heavyocity, the percussive kits still make it into a lot of my music, as old as they are. I think it sounds really good. It's one of those libraries that you've been using for such a long time that you know which sounds to reach for, and I'm just very familiar with it. So I still use it a lot, and I processed it a little bit with some compression, and I sent it to another delay and some reverb. Oh, actually, this is interesting. I just bought this reverb, and this is really good. Exponential Audio PhoenixVerb. This is less than £10, if I remember well. Plugin Boutique, I think it is. I'm not sure. These normally go for £82. There you go. PhoenixVerb stereo for £9.46. It's really good, highly recommended, and this is great for natural sounding rooms. In fact, it's great with orchestral music. I use it a lot for orchestral music as well, and I sort of put all these different percussions in one room. Still talking about percussion, a pretty cool thing that I've done is that I took this very basic shaker sound, which again come from In-Session Audio Shake Strike, which is a great way to come out with very quick shaker loops that are very usable right away. And I processed it with Unfiltered Audio SpecOps, which, I'm not going into Unfiltered Audio plugins because I love them. Have a look. So many of them are great. My favorite is probably one that is called BYOME, Build Your Own Modular something effects. Build your own modular effects. It's really great, and they're all made the same way. You can basically patch things into different parameters and modulate them that way. And basically, I wanted something that sounded really glitchy, and I made it this way. So basically, the shakers are almost not recognizable, but I give them a bit of dirt, which I think works pretty well here. And in the last few bars, I also added some Elysia character, which I automated so that it distorts, so it gives it a little bit of an extra kick, if you know what I mean. This is without Elysia character on. And now it kicks in. All right, finally, the two medical sounds, if you want. First of all, this big driving pulse, which was very much requested. I remember that I had this contact library which I used to love, and I haven't used it in ages for some reason, and that is Retro Machines. It's basically simply an emulation of some pretty old analog synthesizers. I mean, it's really good. You can find better things on the market now because this is pretty old, but it's still very usable. And what I like about it is this sound variation. So basically you can program the sequencer to trigger different variations that you pre-programmed, so it basically moves between presets, and it's great in giving this pulse. I also processed it with some pretty heavy compression to give it a bit of dirt with the MC77 by Purple Audio. Here's how it sounds. Okay, and then finally, exactly like in the other track, I use some heartbeats. This is again from Action Strikes. This is really the same thing. I can show you, but it's exactly identical. Some different rhythms and stuff. One thing that you'll notice is that you see that there is a Pro EQ here, which is currently bypassed. And the reason why it's here is that in the final bit of the track, both the sub bass and the heartbeat go together, which makes it for a very, very muddy and bass heavy sound. Now, this was a bit of a quick mix because I'm typically waiting for some revisions, and then I'll tweak the mix afterward. So I'm still not happy how they sound together in this final section. But basically what this EQ does is that it cuts if it kicks in here, it cuts dramatically the low end, and it sort of boosts the thump, because I basically wanted to leave the retro machine sound to give the body of the bass sound, and use the heartbeats just for this thumping sound just at the very end. Here's how it sounds. And that's it. As I said, not entirely happy of how it turns out. This last section is definitely needs some work mixing wise, but we'll wait for the revisions. And this is the point of this video, is to make it happen with you basically, and so they can show you a little bit of the process. Finally, another medical sound that I wanted to include is this synth beeps and bleeps. Reminds me of an old Monty Python thing, but this is not the place for this. And this is from Riff Generator, which is yet another in-session audio library. And Riff Generation, it's really great because it's very customizable, so you can make it sound very easily like yourself. And I programmed 2 different scenes in here, three different scenes. because there is a little variation here, and I basically move between those. These are all key switchable, and I move between those in the arrangement, and it's a really great way to create a little bit of variety in this kind of tracks. And here's how it sounds. Variation, which turns into this later on. And you know how it continues. So that's pretty much it. Again, very simple track, but hopefully effective. And we'll wait for the revisions, and we'll work together on making the publisher happy, and so that they can send it to the show, and we can hopefully get some placements. I really hope you enjoyed that. You'll see that, you know, the tracks are incredibly simple, but the reason why I started writing underscore music that is so simple with so few layers to it is that I started noticing that the tracks that got most used from my catalog were either very simple tracks or cut downs, alternative versions, alternative mixes with fewer elements of those tracks. It's not only that, I actually think that somehow it is better music, because you sort of force yourself into focusing on only a few elements, and that can be an incredibly powerful way to, you know, get rid of creative block. Another thing that I want to say is that sometimes I speak with other composers that ask me how fast I am when writing, and I think this is a bit of a pointless discussion, because obviously I write orchestral tracks that takes up a lot of time, whereas this kind of tracks can be done very quickly. As I told you, I wrote 2 in one afternoon. But I would argue that the reason why I was able to write a couple of tracks in an afternoon are, first of all, because I wrote a lot, and so I know what works and what doesn't. My hands on the keyboard and my production techniques, my brain automatically goes to a certain solutions that I know that work, and so I can be fast. But also, I spend a lot of time making sounds from scratch. You'll notice that I use the sample library that I'm working on, which, by the way, will be available for free. So please make sure to subscribe so you can be notified when that comes out. And I have templates in place. I know where all my sounds are. This is all time that you need to invest before you actually write, so that when you write, you can be absolutely free from the hustle of looking for the right sound, looking for the right production technique. You have everything there ready, and you can write very fast. I hope this was useful. Please subscribe so you can be notified when I put a new video out. And also for Magnetica, it's coming very soon. I only have a few days of extra work to do on it, and it'll be released over a year. I really hope you enjoy it. I experimented a lot with that engine, and I think it's gonna be really cool. And please comment and let me know what you think about this. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.